Welcome to another Empires and Puzzles Books video. Today I want to talk about costumes. There seems to be a lot of misinformation or confusion sometimes around costumes. So first I want to address the fact that costumes are not necessarily an improvement on a hero. It's just a different version of the same hero. So it'll change class, the statistics will change. Often I hear and see people posting that they're expecting the costume to be some kind of an upgrade. It's situational like all things in the game. It's very complex. So you have to decide in a particular scenario if you'd prefer the costumed hero over the regular card. Sometimes either one can be beneficial depending on the situation. So don't assume that the costume is better. The other thing that is important to note is that you only need one version of the costume if you're going to add that costume to multiple copies of the same hero. So let me show you this. If we go into my inventory and look at my costumes, we're going to come down here and look at Carol. I have one copy of the Carol costume. However, if you go into my hero list and look, you'll see that I have two copies that are fully leveled with maxed emblems. I use him a lot in tournaments and in the monthly challenge events, so I like that particular hero for those events. Notice I have 4 that are new that are unleveled. I'm going to probably level up a third one for the challenge events. But if you notice when I click on a new one, they still have the costume. So you do have to level the costume on each card you're going to use it, but you only need one copy of the costume. Extra copies are useless, and in fact, they should be used to level a hero. And I want to show you where that can be done for a great benefit to you when you're doing your leveling. So I'm currently leveling up. This is my levelers team. I'm currently leveling up Elkanin, who has a costume. So I'm going to switch over to the costume, and you can see he's on the 2nd ascension. And if I go to level him up, just like I would with any other hero, let me skip that. Let's say I'm going to level him up with one of the copies of Ishchak that I have here. 3-star hero, so it's going to feed him pretty good. The costumes, first of all, level much faster than the regular hero, so you don't need as much food or as much effort into getting these leveled. But if you notice, one single Ishchak takes him from level 1 already almost halfway up through level 5 as feeding a 3-star. I'm going to back that back out. Go to the costumes. There is a costumes tab, so hopefully you've seen that there's a costume tab. This shows you where all of your extra costumes are. So now let's do a costume Ishchak, and look how fast this goes. We're almost a quarter of the way into level 10 now with just one hero being fed. So these extra costumes, they don't do you any good. Feed them, and the game will prevent you from feeding all the costumes you have. So if I throw in all of those Ishchaks, notice down here it says last copy of the costume. It blacks out and will not allow me to ascend or to level that into the hero. So look, with just one feeding on the 2nd ascension, I'm already almost up to 60. So level the costumes with costumes. It goes really quick. The only downside really, see, look at that, just 2 of those are going to get me there. So we're at the 2nd ascension on Elk, and I was just using the costumes. So that's one thing to be aware of. The other challenge that comes up with costumes is the emblems. So let me get down to my Tyriums, excuse me. Got my Game of Thrones going on and saying Tyrium. So I have 4 Tyriums that are fully leveled, and they have fully leveled costumes as well. But let's look at the difference. If you look at the first 2 that have full emblems, one is a paladin, one is a rogue. So switching costumes switches the emblem path, which becomes very important when you look at the talent grid, because you can only add emblems to the front of the card, but the costume will follow the same pattern as the front of the card, which means it might not be the pattern you prefer. So on the costume side of this talent grid, it's going to the left, so it's going into an attack and health pattern. But if we look at the front of the card, it's going to a shield and attack instead of health and attack. So that's just the first set of emblems. but you need to really pay attention when you're adding emblems. Do you value the front of the card or the costume more? And depending on the specific talent or the specific use, if you're using them on offense, defense, what their specials are, all the things you normally take into account with deciding where you're placing your emblems, you have to be extra careful with a costume card because you're adding it to the front of the card only. So you got to make sure that the back is ending up in the same position you want. So if you compare my two Tyrems, you will see equip. So this Tyrem has 532 attack, 480 shield, and 1,000 health. But if you look at my other one here, it's 500 defense and over 1,100 health. So this one's more on defense, the other one's more on attack. So it depends on exactly where I'm using the character. So I hope that helps clear up some of the confusion around costumes. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments. I'll gladly answer what I can. Good luck pulling those costumes, and like I said, use the costumes to level up costumes. They go really quickly. One final very important point about costumes: you need to level them up. Even if you don't like the costume, even if you don't want that hero and are never going to use the costume, it's really critical to level up fully the costume and make sure their special gets fully leveled. Once the costume side of a card is fully leveled, the front of the card also sees benefits. So for a fully leveled costume, the front of the card is going to get 5% more attack, 5% more defense, 10% more health, and this one's huge, 5% mana. That mana production is huge. I mean, if you think about it in relation to a mana troop, you need to get up to a level 11 mana troop to get to 9% mana increase. Well, if you have the costume bonus, which is 5%, and you just have a basic mana troop that's not even leveled, you get 5%, that's 10%. So your basic mana troop suddenly boosts with the mana costume up to 10% mana increase, which would take quite a while to get to just trying to do it through troops alone. So I don't care if you hate the card on the back. If you're not that interested in the costume, you really need to level it up anyway. It does not cost much, it does not take long, and you get a huge benefit on the front of the card. I hope this video helped clear up a lot of the confusion around costumes. I wish you well with your game and hope the tiles always go your way.